I'll tell you why Miro Heiskanen is going to win the Norris Trophy, a look into the Arizona Coyotes, and Shooting Star Homestand Edition. That's all coming up next on Locked On Stars.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer 105 Through the Fan and play-by-play voice of the Chippewa Steel. Be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. The Dallas Stars are coming off a perfect road trip. They go 3 for 3 and coming off an 8-goal performance against the Minnesota Wild as they prepare for the Arizona Coyotes tonight at the AAC. We'll touch on them and that young gun squad. Also, Shooting Star Homestand Edition to finish off today's episode. Who is going to have the biggest impact for the next 5 games at the AAC? That's spanning over a week. The Stars have some quality opponents coming in to their own building, and hopefully one of those guys leads them to a perfect homestand. That may be a bit much to ask for, but they went 3 for 3 on the road trip, so why not? But first, we are going to talk about Miro Heiskanen, and yeah, he is that good. I have a few reasons why he is going to win your Norris Trophy this season. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Miro the Hero is who we begin with today. And I'm just pondering this last night because Miro has done such an incredible job since he's entered the league of being so consistent, being responsible in his defensive zone. The offense has come along slowly but surely. It helped with the power play last year, and he finally got full reins of the top power play unit. And he's done it also while having to carry a lot of the load of the entire defensive core, especially over the last few seasons. And there's just a few things that I wanted to relay to all the listeners because he's been so good. And I know the offense is not always there. And it's considered, I guess, a slow start to have 10 points in your first 14 games. But if the power play continues how we think it is, he's going to be just fine. The power play's been abysmal. It's probably a miracle he has 10 points in the first 14 games. And you have to be in kind of the 80-point range in order to really be in the conversation of a Norris Trophy. And I think he is going to get that because the power play is really going to ramp up here shortly. But I wanted to start with this piece from The Athletic. And it was a power rankings of the NHL, of course. They put the Dallas Stars third, and they put a surprise or kind of the best player, so to speak, who's just been really amazing. So they touched on Miro Heiskanen, and it says this: while other defensemen are putting up eye-popping counting stats to lead the Norris race to start the season, don't overlook what Miro Heiskanen is doing at 5-on-5. The point totals aren't quite there yet. Dallas's power play sucks. That's how they put it. And of course, this was a week ago. But Heiskanen has been a beast beyond our wildest expectations, and that's saying a lot for someone we believed was a top 5 defender entering the season. Heiskanen leads all defenders with a 66% expected goals rate and top 5 in relative impact too. He dominates both sides of the ice. A few more numbers for the analytic lovers, and I'm not huge into that. I'm so much more of an eye test person, but I find it interesting, and I'm trying to use it to understand why it really backs up what I'm seeing, so to speak. And I thought this was fascinating. This is from Hockey Stats Cards too, which is a really great source. And they give a rating for every player in the NHL. And Miro Heiskanen's within the top 10. This includes forwards and defensemen, plus 4.2. That ranks 9th in the NHL. Amongst defensemen, he's 5th. So he's been arguably one of just the best players in all of the National Hockey League. And I think he does so many things that aren't on the score sheet as well. And that's why I think analytics really helps Miro in terms of this Norris Trophy conversation, and why I think he's going to win it this year, because the points are going to start piling up as this power play gets going, and he plays so much, and he does this while carrying the load of the entire decor. And he's had to do that for the past few seasons now. Look, he plays with Ryan Suter, who's been really, really good this year, but his best days are behind him to some degree. He's a bit slower. Miro has to account for that. It's the poke checks. It's the board battles. It's his ability to miss forecheckers, outlet pass, skating so effortlessly. He does so many things so well. And another one that I thought was hilarious to some degree, and I almost chuckled, his expected goals for is 14.1. And that's very, very high. It leads the team. And there's a pretty decent size gap between the next Dallas Star. And I think that's all you need to know about what Miro Heiskanen brings to the table. And from that Athletic article, and that was from a week ago when the Stars power play had only scored 3 times up to that point. Of course, they go off for 5 the other night, and he has a 3-point night. He drives so much of the play. He creates so many scoring chances. I think the goals are going to come. He doesn't shoot to score much. I wish he did a bit more. He's always going to be a pass first facilitator type of defenseman, and that's completely fine. Look, there's more than 3 ways to skin a cat. He's always going to be looking for that tip in front, but if he shoots to score a bit more, I think those numbers will pump up. And he's going to have a great, great chance of winning the Norris. I think he does this year, because right now, probably if you look at the FanDuel betting odds, which I'll tell you as well, Quinn Hughes at plus 210, he's off to a just embarrassing start. It's pretty heroic what he's doing. Miro's 5th right now at plus 1,200. And the reason for Quinn Hughes' success so far is their power plays rocking at 35%. I don't know if that's sustainable. The Stars sustained it for an entire 82 games last year. I don't know if Vancouver's going to still be in that conversation towards the end of the season. They're a bit of a surprise right now. They've played really good, and of course, they beat the Stars not too long ago. I completely agree with that, and Quinn Hughes is a phenomenal talent. But I think Miro needs to get some love for his 5-on-5 play and just his ability to do everything at a high level. And I think his net rating really, really speaks volumes, that he's 9th in the entire National Hockey League. And that takes in account offense, defense, and he's just doing such a great job. And it's not going to hurt if the Stars win the Central Division or win the West, or at least in that conversation for the entire year. He had a lot of guys, he had a lot of eyes on him last year, and he finally got revered for the type of player he was, which it was like, well, duh. Like, that really irritated me to some degree, because we knew this way before last year. The only reason he became all of a sudden popping on the scene is because he got the control of the number 1 power play unit, but he was doing that on a nightly basis, even behind Klingberg. Of course, Klingberg took a little more of those minutes away. So I digress on that soapbox part of it, but with his, career high in points last year, and of course his incredible play during the playoff run, when most of your eyeballs are on you, he continues to show out. And I think he's going to get a ton of votes. Not being in the top 5 last year is just a complete travesty. And I get it. It's a point contest to some degree, but it's about time to look at the whole sample size. And he outscored like 2 of the 3 finalists too, which, like, come on. And of course, Carlson, excellent player. Look, I would love to have 109 points on my back end too. You can't argue with that to some degree, but I think as this power play gets going, Miro will continue to collect minutes. He's excellent at 5-on-5. Hopefully the goals start coming a bit more, but he's just, we're so lucky to have him to put it in a nice button way. It just so lucky to watch this type of caliber player from night in and night out. And it did not take him long to figure it out as soon as he came in as a bright, young, bushy-tailed rookie. And it's pretty wild to think, this is his 6th year now, 5th or 6th. It's pretty crazy as he came in as a 19-year-old, and we're just really seeing the process and the progression of his game. And who knows if this is it. He can get better. He's gotten better almost every year. He adds a bit different taste or flavor to his game each season. It seems like he's been a bit more physical this year, which is a great sign too. He's a bit stronger, has a bit harder of a shot, and he's just doing so many great things. So I apologize. Just wanted to really hammer home Miro for a little bit. I made it known. I think he's so good, but I really just wanted to come on and just praise him because I'm pondering and come on. This is his year. This is his year because the team, I think, is going to be in that conversation top 5 in the league for most of the time. And when people come and look at Miro Heiskanen. He's one of the few guys on the back end that's producing at both ends of the ice. And hopefully that translate into some votes. He's got to get some points, though. Look, that's just the nature of the game. As much as I kind of hate it, they need almost a defenseman defense award. So we'll see. Anyways, let's look into these Arizona Coyotes. This is a young team, and they surprised some people so far. They're in the conversation. Do the Coyotes make the playoffs? And we'll see how they fare tonight against the Dallas Stars. We'll do that in just a moment. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Jase Medical. We spend a lot of time talking together, you and I. We get fired up on the wins, speaking of that Minnesota Wild win, and the losses sometime. Who starts, who sits. I'm thankful for the connection that we have. And today, I want our chat to be a bit more personal. I learned that you can get a 1-year supply on ED medications. You realize what that means. Bring on extended travel. Bring on the next natural disaster or supply chain issue. You are covered, my friend. You don't have to worry about whether or not you can refill your generics like Cialis or Viagra. And this is possible because our friends at Jase Medical. Go online at jasemedical.com to receive your 12-month supply on your daily medication. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for a discount as well. Don't forget about the Jase case too, where you get those antibiotics. A verified customer had this to say about Jase. I am thankful for this service. Supply chain issues caused me to cut pills in half. I ordered most of my daily meds with a year's supply. I also ordered the antibiotic kit. I feel secure now. Prices are lower than local pharmacies. I highly recommend everyone use this. If you or someone you love would like to get peace of mind by having a year's supply of any daily med, go to jasemedical.com to see if it's offered for you. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your purchase. Remember to use the promo code Locked On for $20 off your purchase at jasemedical.com. The Arizona Coyotes coming off a big 7-5 win over the Nashville Predators last Saturday, and they're off to a very, very decent start. 4th in the Central Division, and as I mentioned, I thought this was going to be a surprise team because they have nothing to lose. The expectations are not there, kind of opposite of the Dallas Stars, and those teams can be very, very deadly. 15 points, 7, 6, and 1 so far, and they're really being led by their young studs. Clayton Keller, who I have 15 points in his first 14 games, a little bit older of a guy, and Nick Smaltz, who has 13 points, but Logan Cooley is their shiny toy, the new shiny toy, the rookie, who has 11 points so far in 14 games. Just the 1 goal, but he's got 10 assists. I watched him at Minnesota. This guy could do it all. He is fancy. He was actually going to play for Minnesota 1 more year and then opted to go to Arizona. It looks like a good decision so far. And they're off to a very, very good start. But they made some interesting acquisitions. They got Matt Dumba in the offseason, and they have some, veterans like Kerfoot and Zucker and guys like that who have been around the league. And they played really, really well. They're putting up some decent numbers. Both the Stars and Coyotes are averaging giving up 32 shots per game. And the Stars have been a bit more stingy defensively lately. They've been much better in the face-off dot, which is a good sign as well. But Arizona at 5-on-5 is kind of a wash. They're not too much better. They're not too worse, so to speak. It's kind of an even task. And of course, the Stars, who have really buzzing at 5-on-5 lately, should help them in this contest. But I think the Coyotes bring a unique challenge, and I think it's a great test for the Stars. Coming off a 3-game road trip, you can kind of lay an egg in that first home game back. You may rest on your laurels. I was worried about that against Minnesota. Obviously, that didn't happen. So we'll see how the Stars fare. I'm interested to see the goaltending matchup. Are the Stars going to roll with Jake Ottinger? They do have Colorado coming home in a few days. Maybe they want to go with Wedgwood against his former club. We will see. Also, Thomas Harley. We'll get an update later today. We'll have to keep an eye on that. I'm wondering if he didn't return to the game, maybe because of the score. It was already out of hand. Hopefully they're not missing him for too much longer, because Harley has been so good. And that would be a really, really big miss for the Stars. But you have Joel Hanley waiting in the wings, and, he's great at coming off the bench. He's only played in 1 game so far this year. It was against Boston, and he came in and did a fine job. So the Stars have a replacement there. But it is going to discombobulate the back end a bit more. You'll probably have to see Miro play quite a few more minutes if that does happen. But the Coyotes in general, looking at some of the numbers, their leader in expected goals for is actually Matt Dumba. But as I mentioned, Smaltz and Keller are so creative. This team plays with a lot of pace, and they're very, very creative, and they can do a lot of things with the puck. They manipulate it, and they get shots on net. They get a lot of volume on opposing netminders, and they'll make you pay for mistakes. So I think this is actually a great test at a great time for the Stars. Their goaltending situation, Connor Ingram and Karel Vejmelka. Right now, Ingram has 7 starts, 5 wins, 1 loss, 911 save percentage, 2.87 goals against average. They have a pretty good tandem. And Vejmelka, who the Stars saw a couple of times last year, 908 save percentage, 2.96 goals against average. The win-loss record, not quite there. He's 2-5-1. But it's been a really, really good start for the Coyotes. They're averaging over 3.3 goals per game. They are allowing almost 3.2, which hasn't helped. They've had a good power play so far, 29%. They've scored 16 power play goals. And even with the 5 that the Stars accumulated for the other night, that's still quite a few more. The gap is pretty large there. They've been off to a very, very good start in that department. And like I mentioned, with a team that's so creative and they have guys that can really rifle the pill, you got to stay disciplined. And the Stars have been good at that so far, at least lately. They've been a much better disciplined team. I feel like at the beginning of this year than they were last year. It was a barrage of penalties to begin the year, but their penalty kill, of course, has been phenomenal. So you're going to see a really good power play unit against the number 1 unit in the Dallas Stars, who have been pretty much automatic so far this season on the job. But a real interesting test here tonight at the AAC. I know I keep saying it, but I think the Stars hopefully come out and get off to a quick start. Hasn't been the case at home. They've fixed that against Winnipeg and Minnesota, and hopefully they come out and ready to go. The Smith-Fox's Steel line just really set the tone against Minnesota the other night. I mean, right off the hop, spending 45 seconds in the offensive zone, they draw a penalty, and the Stars score 6 seconds later on the job, which, of course, steamrolled into a wonderful night of special teams, all things told. But the Stars getting ready for a 5-game homestand, which will stretch from Tuesday to next Monday. Some good opponents. You got Vegas, New York, Colorado, all coming to town. It ends with the Calgary Flames. Who is going to be your shooting star for this homestand in the next 5 games? Let me know in the comment section below, and we'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 $50 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. The NFL season is really just starting to kick off. This is when the nitty-gritty details really come into play. How about those Dallas Cowboys absolutely destroying the New York Giants? No surprise. Sprinkle some money on CeeDee Lamb. He says he's the best receiver in all of the land. You might as well throw some cash on it because he's going to go over every projection, it seems like, over the past 4 or 5 weeks, as him and Dak have created a great connection. Also, you don't have to just play the NFL. You got the NHL. I talked about the odds for Miro Heiskanen. Talk about great odds. He's 5th right now, plus 1,200. Boom. No better time. Probably the best value you're going to get for old Miro at this point in the season. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. By the way, thank you so much for all the love and support and the comments and feedback from yesterday's episode. It was really, really fun to just come on and just celebrate the win over Minnesota. I feel like sometimes you get bogged down in the details and the nitty-gritty stuff, and I was a bit nitpicky at some points over the last week, and it was just great to come on and just celebrate the win. You go in against a hated rival, I should say, and you just bury him. And it was fun to just kind of relive that with everybody. So I appreciate all that. Be sure to check out that episode as well from yesterday. But here we go. Who is going to be the shooting star for this homestand? 5 games, a couple of great opponents, some of the top in the West and the East. You got Colorado, New York, and, you know, we usually play shooting star for the night. But who's going to have the biggest impact and hopefully lead the Stars to a perfect homestand? And there's plenty of options because so many guys have been playing so well. Wyatt Johnston, Matt Duchene comes to mind. I'm going to go with Jamie Benn for this homestand. El Capitan. 3 goals, 8 assists so far. That's good for 11 points in his first 14 games. He had 2 assists against Minnesota, but up to that point, he was held scoreless for 4 games. He hasn't been the focal point, I feel like, over the past week or so. Johnson's stolen some of the love. Jamie Benn at home is going to steal it right back. He's going to be physical. We're going to get a few vintage Jamie Benn games. He'll get gritty. He'll win a lot of puck battles in front of the net on the power play. I feel like Jamie Benn going to have a great homestand. He's been a great player at home in his time. And maybe Johnston cools off a bit, and Jamie Benn will steal some of the show on home ice. So that is my pick for the Shooting Star Homestand Edition. Be sure to let me know who is going to lead the Stars to victory in this homestand, hopefully for 5 straight games. But once again, Stars, your first place Dallas Stars. I have to make sure I mention that every episode. First place in the Central Division. There's a bit of a gap, and that can close up in a hurry. But if you keep winning, you don't have to worry about it. We'll have to keep an eye on Thomas Harley. I don't know. I don't really have an inclination on if he's going to be out or not, because with the game the way it was on Saturday, maybe they thought, yeah, just easy. But I got to look at the hit again, and that was bad. I mean, that's face almost into the dasher. That was scary, and we're very fortunate he was okay to get up under his own power and was frankly seemed to kind of be all there, because it was bad. I mean, that was numbers showing, and Duheim just rolled him into the end wall. It was just a bad hit. It was so dirty, and credit to Dallas for not really stepping in to wipe away their own man advantage, and they were able to pot 2, which probably hurt a lot more than trying to fight the guy or anything like that. I know you want to see your guys have some life and protect your players, and I get that, but sometimes it's much easier to do the work on the scoreboard. It's probably more fun to watch half the fan base of an opposing team leave the building before halfway through the third period than getting a lick on a few guys, like a fourth liner. Like, relax, let them have it, and they did their job. So we'll keep an eye on Harley. Otherwise, Hanley will step in, and I'm sure we'll do a fine job. Big homestand coming up. Jamie Benn, El Capitan, going to have a big one. I'll say 5 points in the homestand. He's going to have 4 goals, 1 assist. That may be a bit undershooting, but I'll give him a point a night. Let me know, of course, your shooting star as well. Thank you so much for joining me once again on Locked On Stars, your team every single day. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Go ahead and follow me on the Twitter, the Joey the Jet 19 thing. Excited for another week of Stars hockey. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And for now, we will see you tomorrow. I'll have a live reaction, of course, and a breakdown tomorrow of the game as always. And for now, so long, Stars fans.